Hello everybody. So I'm down here at Smithland Dam jacking around, seeing if we can get on a big one today. I'm gonna try everything I know how to do to get a big one today. It's been a while since I caught a big one. Sure enough, big one. So I come down here today for a couple reasons. We got a little bit of rain, we got a little bit of flow going through the Ohio. That concentrates the fish a little bit more. I'm gonna try a couple things different today if I get a chance. If we don't catch anything pretty quick anchoring, I'm just gonna dab around a little bit, hunt and peck until we get, I've been finding fish down here, but they've not been biting. So I've changed my leader a little bit. The last time I come down here, I was using about a 2-foot leader. Well, I had one pole that had about a 1.5 foot leader with a float about halfway up, and it was getting the most bites. So I changed that a little bit. You know, as the water cools down, them fish might be holding closer to the bottom. Don't know. But it did make a difference the other day. But we're gonna anchor fish a little bit. I'm on the current side of my typical current line down through here, thinking it'll pull my scent of my bait on down to them. We're just gonna try it a little bit. Like I said, we're gonna hunt and peck until we find fish. And I want to, like I said, I want to try a couple different things today that I haven't done in a long time. I like to catch them off the anchor if I can. Like I said, the last time I was down here, I was having problems with the hook set. And when you have good takedowns like that, and you don't get a hook, you change things. I'm using about a 4-inch shad. This is my typical winter bait right here. I'm using about a 4-inch shad with his tail cut off right behind the gut pocket. That's what I've always caught them on in the winter. I don't think they've hit their winter thing yet, but they're gonna be close. They're gonna be close to their winter homes. We've been here doggone 30 minutes. It's time to move. I kind of want to be over there where that backwash is coming into this from the other side. All right, guys, there's a little dab of current backflowing this direction. It's one of my favorite scenarios to fish. It ain't got a lot of current, but there's enough current there to keep everything straight. It's the reason why I come down here today, is because I was hoping this current was here. It puts my camera away from the sun. The wind's gonna be blowing in favor for it. We'll just work this all the way down through here. And there's quite a few fish jumbled in there. You always see me fishing here in the sun or in the winter time. It's because it's always like this. I'm thinking that we might catch a couple here, but I've been wrong. They're not in the current. Well, they're always in the current, but they ain't like piled in. So there's rocks and stuff down there they're hanging out behind. We might have to piddle around and get in super shallow water. If we go to getting bites in here, we're gonna change the weight of our sinker too. It's piled full of fish, but there's also no current. Left-hand pole. Did not act like a big fish. Right-hand pole. Did not act like a big fish. There's a few fish in here. We might have to move around till we find the bigger ones. The water temperature is 59 degrees, which tells me that usually if it gets below 60, they go to concentrating up. So if we ever find where there's one at, there'll be more there, should be. I don't think them was blue cat. There we go. So that's the deal, guys. They're moving out of the current and starting to concentrate up. That's good. Doggies are going down. So I brought him up slow because we're fishing in 60 foot of water. Good first fish of the day. He's cold. He'll probably go 5. Nice, pretty fish. We'll send him back. We'll give her another 10 minutes on that fish right there, just in case there's a bigger one in there. Well, we got another fish going down. God, I love this. The colder the water gets, guys, the more I love it. Bring him up slow, I about forgot. For one thing, you can catch them in the daylight more whenever the water cools off. You know, and that thing come off. In the summertime, they're so nocturnal. He was about the same size as that last one I caught. We probably ain't gonna give these fish very much longer. I'm gonna throw this one up in some shallower water and see if that helps anything. We're right on a ledge that goes down through there from 60 to 40. So I'm gonna put this over in that 40 foot of water. And if we don't get a good takedown here in a little bit, we're gonna get a little bit closer to the actual current. And we might do better up there where that sun's glaring on that bank of warming it up just a hair. You know, that sun could be hitting that up in there in that calmer water, warming it up. So when we leave here, I'm gonna make a circle, just scanning with my depth finder, and then see where I think's what the biggest fish is and fish for them. Because I bet you there's a 60 pounder in this circle. Just a matter of getting a bait in front of him. Center post fixing to go down. See, that's not acting like a blue cat. That's strange. Unless it's a smaller one. You never know. It could be a 60 pounder. That's the great thing about catfishing. Could be a big old flathead. I've seen, in the wintertime, I've seen fish hit like that, and then all of a sudden just zoop. You know, just zoop. Well, guys, I think it's time to move. We can always come back here I just don't think there's very big a fish here. Well, guys, there's a bunch of rocks. It goes from 25 to 40. And they was piled up on them rocks. But the current's blowing back towards us. And I've not very much. It's almost dead in here. But I think them fish is piled up on them rocks sunning. There was a bunch of bait in there and a bunch of other stuff. So as the water cools off, these are the kinds of places you want to look for, the places where the fish are sunning. Like I said, there's a rock pile out there behind us, and it's real rocky over here to the left. Well, that sun's beating down on that. It's got all the bait and everything in there that fish like. But I've only got one issue with it. The current's coming towards us. There's not a lot of current. We'll see how it goes. We might stay so tangled up that we can't do nothing on our leaders. But I wanted to see if them fish was biting in there. If they are, and we'll figure out something else to do. So I've got my right hand pole in 40 foot of water. That's in 35 or so. And this one's in about 20. And I've went to 3 ounces of weight, and we might have to go back over there on that sandbank. There was quite a few fish along that sandbank right there, and the current's going in our favor there. But I wanted to throw a hook out here with these fish. So them rocks underneath there is dark. Well, as that sun hits them, it radiates heat back up into the water. So it's a lot warmer around them rocks than it is anywhere else out here. And the fact that it ain't got no current helps it warm up too. So before the day's out, we might have to get plumb shallow. That did not take long, guys. It was strange because, like I said, the current's coming back towards us. And I didn't know exactly what was going on there. Now then, if we can get into a big one. Nice, pretty 3-pound blue. 4. I like the way we've been here a little under 10 minutes because they're in there. So we need to find a place like this with the current going the right direction. You see that right hand pole's getting a bite now. But we ain't gonna get no hook sets the way we are. Left hand pole's getting a bite. Because basically what they're doing, they're grabbing it and running with it and coming towards us. Just little ones. And we ain't gonna get no hook set with that current coming back towards us. Well, guys, I'm sorry about the sun, but I want to get down here and catch a big fish. I thought it was gonna cloud up. Look at that already. Already strip and drag right out of the bucket. I had my hands full and I couldn't get a hold of the pole. It did not take long. So the surface has got a lot of current to it, but the underneath has got a backflow to it. My thoughts was a while ago to get in that backflow and fish away from the sun so y'all could see better. But the surface current is backwards from what the bottom current is. This is a little bit of a better fish here. Like I said, I'm sorry about the sun, guys, but I knew these fish was here, but I was just waiting until it was cloudy and I could get around them somehow. I'm gonna get him over here out of our other poles. Maybe you can see what I'm trying to do. This is not a bad fish. It's kind of hard to say in this current, but he's pretty heavy regardless. He's way up underneath the boat now. Look at that whisker seeker bend. God dog. I don't think he's a great big one, but he's a good one. I got to get this boat in a better position. I get him in. He's coming up too easy now, so he ain't a monster. He might have been down there in some current and had me fooled. He's undoubtedly the biggest one we've caught today. I sure thought he was bigger than that. He's a good 10-pound fish regardless. But I got to reconfigure the boat again. Good 10-pound blue. So I'm scared if we go too far that way where the current will hold us straight, we'll be out of the fish. But we got to figure something out. We can't have this. If that would have been a big one, we'd have been screwed. So, guys, boat positioning is crucial. We're on these good fish. I just caught a 10-pounder, and my boat's all willery wallery, and I can't do nothing with it. The fish is right there, but I'll have to figure something out. I don't know. If you get in the current, they ain't gonna bite. If you get out of the current, the boat won't stay straight. So I'll figure her out. All right, guys, I've tried to get it to where the wind and the current's doing the same thing, but yet my camera's out of the sunlight, so you can see what I'm trying to do. It's a very hard combination to get and still be on the fish. We'll give it a little whirl here. The fish that we just caught was about 100 yards that way. But I think the current's going back towards that a little bit. And if it is, we'll catch them. Because it's just what they're doing. They're out here on this calm water where, with everything else feeding, where there ain't no sunlight, or where the sunlight's shining. That's what they've been doing all day. It's just hard to find the right combination where there's big fish and the sun not in our eyes. Because if you get in the current where the current's real heavy to hold the boat straight with the wind, then you're not in fish. I can tell by the lines that it's pulling a pretty good current back towards that away right now. Now then, that's apt to change. Right hand pole, middle pole. So they're in here. Always remember, guys, even in the wintertime, them fish do get shallow. Sometimes in the shallow water heats up quicker than the deep water, and they'll move shallow. They'll move wherever that bait is. And if you find a lot of bait on a shallow flat, that's where you want to be. I don't care if it's 6 foot deep. Most people automatically go fish deep in the winter. That's not necessarily the case. Left hand pole going down. I think we're going to have some fun here, boys. As long as the current stays like it's doing. I haven't seen a real good bite yet, but there's a bunch of fish there. Strip and drag right out of the bucket, guys. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes shallower water does better. Nice 5-6 pound blue. Pretty fish again. I'm gonna give it about 10-15 more minutes here, then we're gonna move up a little bit closer to the current. All right, guys, we're gonna move just a little bit. So another thing, on these days that they're biting real good, unless you're just after a mess of fish, you're after a big one, just move constantly until you find that big one. If these little ones are biting as good as they are right now, then them big ones are biting. So you need to keep until you get a bait in front of one. I don't think there's any big ones here. So we're going to move on just a hair. We're probably just going to let the boat drift back about 150 yards and then set her down again. There we go. That one's a hair bigger, but not by much. So lots of times too, guys, your bigger fish will be more singled out. They won't be near as many there as what they. And that's how I judge it a lot of times is if you're getting lots of bites, then they're usually a smaller fish. Of course, this one ain't no monster. I thought he was bigger than that, but I've thought that all day. Still not a bad one. I think it's probably the biggest one we've caught today. Big enough that we'll sit here with them a little bit. Another 5, 6, 7 pound blue. God, I love when it gets cold. Them fish are so easy to find. And I do think that if you get a bait in front of a big one right now, he'd bite. Just a matter of finding him. Well, it's time to vacate this premises. Well, we'll try it here for a little bit. I think I need to go up just a hair more. It's even shallower and more in the sunlight than any place I fished today. The only issue is I've never caught a fish here. It did not take long. And look at that other one taking off. That's the deal, guys. Them things are just getting up in these shallows where it's warmer. Right at the edge of this generator chute. Hopefully we can keep these things fed and shad and get a good one out of here. Because they don't act like they're very big. But if them little ones are piled in there like that, then they might be a big one in there. They're ridiculously thick. I seen them on sonar. That left-hand pole, look at it go, look at it go, look at it go. He ain't stripping drag. I might have to bump her down to 2 poles. That right-hand pole's going crazy. He's trying to strip drag. Yeah, he's pulling my boat sideways. Look at that thing go. You know it when you get in them. When them things are biting this good today, then I'm for sure going to have to run 2 poles here, but we're going to finish the day off here. Oh, guys. I gotta unscrew this mess. And then I'm gonna put this other pole up. Boy, you talking about good eating. That's the deal, guys. They have just moved up here where it's shallow. We got out of them back there. We're only gonna run 2 poles because I ain't gonna sit there and reel in 3-pound catfish 5 at a time. Because this is the end result right here. You ain't got no bait in the water. I just wish they was a little bigger, but we might knock a few of them small ones out and be a big one laying in there. And you never know, the next one we might hook into 70 pounds. So these probably are all the fish that was in that generator chute that's moved out here in this slacker current in the last few days since the water's gotten cool. I'm gonna send this one a little bit farther out in there. And they all might be the same size. I don't know. I was kind of halfway hoping that I get out there on the actual drop off and hang a big one. Seems like they're all the same size. There we go. They're slamming it like big ones. Looks like that's what we're gonna catch today. I think it's so full of shad in here today. They're just piled in here. And this is the warm area of the water. Well, guys, I'm gonna call it. We caught a lot of fish today. We didn't get the big one that I made it a point to get, but we learned a lot. As the water temperature gets colder, any place that you can find a warm place in that water, and that's what it was wherever when we that last place we parked, that the water temperature was so much warmer there because the sun was beating down on it and had it warmed up. Well, that brings in the bait fish, which brings in the catfish, and so on. So, until the next time, I will see y'all later.